the question of can the Eagles look like the Eagles team that went undefeated the longest just in time for the playoffs with Hurts coming off an injury and the final month of the season being up and down. Can they do that? The answer is a resounding yes. How do you think they match up against the 49ers in this NFC Championship game based on what you saw, Chris?
I mean, this game is going to be so physical. There's so many good players, with the ball in their hand after they catch the football, like from A.J. Brown to, Dallas Goedert to, Miles Sanders in the run game who had a really good – I'm leaving out Devontae Smith. There's just a whole bunch. And on the Niners side, it's like, pick your poison. So it's a game that's going to be just as fun to watch as it is physical. These teams played each other like 2 years ago, and some of the names and faces have changed. But early in the season, they played, and it was one of the most physical ball games I've seen in the regular season in the past few years. I think Philly has an interesting edge if you look at it up front. I mean, I just think they're deeper up front, obviously. I mean, they've got more rushers who can win. Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Hargrave. I mean, I'm leaving guys out up front there. They've got guys that can get to Brandon Graham, where, San Francisco's entire front doesn't scare me as much. I also think Philly has an advantage. I know Philly has an advantage at quarterback, right? And you look at it, and Jalen Hurts, he's the reason their offense goes in a lot of ways. I mean, they have some really good players. In one of them they got back in Lane Johnson. But, like, Brock Purdy, I mean, and we do this thing, like, every week. If somebody points out that the offense is great, it's like we're detracting from Brock Purdy. He can't control the situation he's in. He's doing the very best he can with it. But when it comes to Jalen Hurts, he's the engine, right? Like, and you wondered how he would look going out there, him hitting Smith off the rip. You say, okay, his arm's in a good place, so they're going to run the football. Quarterback runs all year long. They average about 7 quarterback runs a game. They go 7 quarterback runs on the nose. They run zone read to death for like over 200 yards. And I think the front was just too much for the Giants. So, like, it's going to be an interesting ball game. I don't know which way to lean at this point, but the link's going to be rocking, and I think they do have 2 advantages that they can take advantage of, and that's the defensive line and the quarterback.
And before I let you go, Chris, I mean, your ears are in that building. I know that because you played there in Philly. What do you got for me on what Nick Sirianni's doing behind the scenes? Rallying the troops, firing them up, popping on Instagram lives, in celebration and all that stuff. What's the secret sauce that he's adding that's adding up to what we're seeing in Philly?
Well, I think he's been himself. Like from the minute he signed, he had that bad press conference, which obviously doesn't mean anything, right?
No.
Dan Campbell was going to prison, right? Because he bit a guy's knee. I remember the day we were, oh, my God, Dan Campbell's going to bite from his knee. This guy can't coach in the NFL.
Right.
Meanwhile, look over here. We got Urban Meyer. Nobody's paying attention because that's what we do. Shiny object.
Tell me about it.
Everybody freaks out about Dan Campbell. Everybody's freaking out about Nick Sirianni. Oh, he sounds nervous. Okay. Well, then I call some of my buddies, and I'm like, hey, what kind of guy? Man, we love him. Like, he's exactly what you see is what you get. He's competitive. He's got that energy about him. And I can remember this season getting to go up to see a game, and I got to go to the walkthrough Saturday and catch up with some guys and met Nick Sirianni. He's a tall guy, by the way. He's like my height. And he just can command a room. Like, the first time I met him, I wanted to play for him. Like, he's just got that energy about him, and I think he fits Philly so well. Except for the Pizza Hut thing with the stuffed crust. You don't want to order Pizza Hut in South Philly, but kudos to him for sharing that tidbit. He's exactly who he is, and I think like he's kind of brazen, like the last guy in Doug Peterson, where he's going to go. He's going to he's unafraid, and I think that whole mindset is this team is so much different from the team that won the Super Bowl in 2017. They're better on paper, and they have such a different mentality. When we won the Super Bowl, it was nobody believes in us, and people weren't paying attention. Right. Even the minute they started paying attention, Carson got hurt, and all of a sudden we were kind of an afterthought. we had to prove it the whole year. They've had a target on their backs the whole year. Like, everybody knows how good they are, and they've worn it. I mean, they are cocky. Like, they're on the line between confident and cocky, and that's right where you want to be. They're like bullies, man. And it's fun to watch. I mean, like, that's what you're going to need, because San Francisco, they got some bullies on their team.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.